Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the Reinvent Your Reality podcast. I'm your host, Jen Palko, and welcome to episode number 2 of season 3 of this podcast. So happy you could join me here today for another exciting conversation. And this conversation was inspired by somebody who I am fascinated with just recently. And his name is Jesus Christ. Now, you might be thinking, what? Did I just turn on a very religious podcast or what? Well, here, let me explain myself, okay? So yesterday was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. 50 years. Oh my goodness, right? And I wanted to give them something special. So I heard recently about Cameo. If you're not familiar with Cameo, you can get celebrities and entertainers to do little snippets and congratulations and happy birthdays and happy anniversaries and all kinds of stuff online. You pay for it, obviously, but they have some cool people on there, some big name celebrities and stuff. I tried to get Gilbert Gottfried, but he rejected my request for some strange reason. So, the other day I was looking and I said, well, what better individual to wish my parents a happy wedding anniversary than Jesus himself? And so it was cool. It was cool. They enjoyed it. It lit them up. And but that's not the point of this podcast. But I am going to talk about Jesus because I delved a little bit into this guy and his backstory. He's a YouTube entertainer. He plays the role of Jesus Christ. He's been doing it for a number of years now. And I just found his story really, really fascinating, and some of his videos. Because if you look at the scope of his videos, I mean, right here is his YouTube channels, The Jesus Christ, or if you just Google Jesus Christ or Jesus Christ YouTube guy, he has 1.2 million subscribers, and he's a funny guy. He's got Jesus Christ Skates for Your Sins, where he's on a cross-shaped skateboard. He's also known as SoCal Jesus. I don't know if he still lives in Southern California, but that's where he was from. Let's see, Holy Snowboard Jesus, Skating for Your Sins, Pride Parade Showdown, Jesus Goes to the Hood in Compton, Jesus Gets a Holy Haircut. So this guy's pretty funny. So I delved a little into his story, and it was actually a very fascinating story, and that's what I want to talk about today, okay? He was originally from a very Mormon family. That was his whole life. And he basically left that. He was married. He had 3 children, I believe. And he left the Mormon lifestyle because he realized he was in a cult pretty much. And then, recently he was going through a whole custody battle with his ex-wife, trying to get the kids and get them out of that lifestyle. And basically he found himself later in life, and he realized that this was not the way that he wanted to live his life. There were some things that the Mormon culture religion stood for, such as anti-LGBT and things like that he really didn't sit well with him. So he decided to leave, and basically his family disowned him. And it's a very, very interesting story. I just happened to stumble on a couple articles and things like that. But I wanted to talk about why I love SoCal Jesus, why I'm fascinated by this guy and his story, because he's been called, obviously anybody who is playing the role of a religious figure, dressing up, in a tunic, and is that what they call it, tunic, and playing this part of this highly religious figure that pretty much everybody knows and has been through many religions. You're taking a chance with that, and he took the chance with that, and he uses it to basically make a living, on Cameo, on Fiverr, YouTube now, and he's very transparent with that, which is one of the things I like about him. But I was watching a video yesterday, and he says he's been called the Antichrist. He's been called, what he's doing is blasphemy and all of the things that you could expect from an organized religion. There's even a video of him. There was a YouTube hater, some guy who was a very religious guy, but he was talking about Jesus's channel and how it was all wrong, and how this guy is like, it was a very hating, anti video. So Jesus did a response to this guy's video, and basically was showing how much this guy is spewing out hatred and projecting, and he ends with, which I think was very wise, and in a way he's brilliant in a very simplified way, and I don't know if he means to be, but to me, I see the light coming through this guy. This dude is just playing Jesus, because he's like, why is this guy so angry? Why are people having such an issue with me playing the role of Jesus Christ, of dressing up? Okay, people don't necessarily have an issue with Civil War reenactment or somebody dressing up as George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, but because it's a religious figure, it's blasphemy. It's something different, and you have to ask yourself why. And people will say, well, it's this sacred thing, like it's Jesus. But here's the catch, okay? What I've seen all this guy's videos, and including what I gave my parents, was that this guy is, and he has said himself that if Jesus were alive today, this is like modern day Jesus. This is kind of how he would probably be reaching out to people, using things like social media and lighting people up. And this is the difference too, okay? Like I said, this Jesus Christ is very transparent. He is about his goals and why he's doing it, okay? He's not manipulating anybody in my eyes. He's an entertainer. And he knows that people know that. Maybe they don't know that. I don't know. But he's not claiming to be the Jesus. He's just claiming to be Jesus. Okay? He's not claiming to be the Jesus. He's claiming to be Jesus, the entertainer. Okay? Making light of it. So it got me thinking, because he did bring up a couple things, like, it's kind of like somebody should question themselves. Why are they so offended over something like this? Why are we so offended by certain things in life? Why are we so offended by somebody who has just bought, an outfit on Amazon and is dressing up and making money doing this, but at the same time, it's actually making people laugh and lighting them up? See, in my eyes, if Jesus were alive here today and walking around, whatever, then that would be kind of the goal. It's almost like this guy is Jesus in a way, because he is lighting people's spirit up through his comedy, through his personality, through his gifts, whatever he was given, like that show through his personality, through his light. So I give big props to this guy, this dude, for just living in his light, doing his thing, and lifting people up in the process. So that's the thing. People will claim that what somebody like this is doing is wrong. But at the same time, he's not going around killing people. He's not shooting people in the head. He's using comedy as a means to make people laugh. So there's going to be a lot of different opinions on this, obviously. But just think about it, okay? Is it sacrilegious to dress as Jesus? Who knows? Who says? What's sacrilegious about it, right? We dress up for Halloween. Is that the sacrilegious too? Some people would say, yeah. Some people don't celebrate Halloween because they think it's sacrilegious, things like that. But, a guy who's dressing up as Jesus, skating on a skateboard, hugging people, going to pride parades, and doing all these things that an actual Jesus would kind of do. Like, I don't see anything, if you're spreading light, and maybe spreading light is more than filling churches and I don't know, having some kind of cult following. And maybe it's not, spreading religion and spreading light. Maybe it's not about like this organized thing. There's a lot of manipulation involved, speaking as ex-Catholic myself, I claim to be. It's, the deal, and it's not until years later where you realize that organized religion it can be very, very, very different from spirituality, or spirituality can be very, very different from organized religion. Now, you're free to believe whatever you want, and I don't want this to be necessarily a religious talk, but I want it to be kind of delving into the mind and delving into our emotions and why we feel certain things or hatred towards certain things, or because we're stuck in a certain way or we're very rigid. Like I said, maybe spreading light in the world, which is what the world really kind of needs right now, big time. Maybe it's not, like I said, about filling a church. Maybe it's not about being so rigid in your beliefs, about following everything to a T. Maybe it's just about lighting up your neighbor next door, making them laugh. Maybe it's about doing something silly or stupid, because that's going to light up the world more than us being rigid and in our beliefs and getting angry at everybody else who doesn't think the way that we do. That's all I'm saying, That's all I'm saying. So that's why I like Southern SoCal Jesus, because he makes Jesus relatable and down to earth. And a lot of what I have seen, things that have been passed down for years, or religions, and just, we're so stuck in our ways, And I'm not saying we have to change things, like change religion. I mean, religion is religion, okay? Like, for example, like the Catholic Church doesn't accept my kind, but it's very rigid. It's very rigid. So I'm not going to necessarily still follow it, because I've grown, and I've grown out of the religion. You know what I mean? So you can go with it or not. It's up to you. But that's all I'm saying, is that maybe it's like, if this guy Jesus, which I'm sure he existed, and I'm sure he was a cool guy and he did some cool things, but maybe if he showed back up on earth, it would be in the form of something we don't quite expect. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm fascinated by this guy. Not that I think he's Jesus. He doesn't think he's Jesus. Obviously, he's an entertainer. He's trying to make a living. But his heart's in the good place, because he's making people laugh. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what we need. And we're not going to lift each other's spirits up or expand each other by condemning each other, by spitting in each other's faces, which we have seen time and time again, because we think we're right. We have this ego. We have this mentality that we're trying so hard and forcing ourselves to be good people and follow the rules and our belief systems and religions, but at the same time, all this anger is getting spewed out. It's like we're claiming to be good people, and we're so not good people. We're claiming to be perfect. We're claiming to be peaceful people, but at the same time, we're doing the exact opposite. We're hypocrites. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I don't know what your thoughts on the matter are, but if you want to check them out. You could just YouTube Jesus Christ, and maybe you'll be offended. Maybe you won't, but the difference is, here's the difference in my eyes, okay? I was thinking about this long and hard, because it's like, I don't want to say, in this podcast, why are we so offended by everything? Why are we so offended by everything? And there's some things that we should be offended by, but it's when it's actually causing us harm. There's a big difference between somebody trying to prevent us from expanding and living in our light, say somebody who's like somebody who's racist, somebody who's anti-gay and things like that. Like, that's preventing somebody from being aligned to themselves. You know what I mean? And that, in my eyes, is not so cool, because you're not being a good person that way. Like, there's a difference between you like aligning to your spirit and you just being an asshole. Like you just being so rigid in your beliefs. It's not expanding your spirit to hate people who are different than you. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a belief, that's okay, but you have to really look and see if that belief is because of how you were raised, like your culture, or is it in line with your actual spirit? Like, what does your heart and your spirit say? And I guarantee it's probably going to say something different, but you've just suppressed it, you repressed it, and you just don't know quite how to connect with that in your life, if that makes any sense. Because there's a lot of people who walk through life and they think that things that are so important to them, they're going to fight for their justice and fight for this and fight for that. And it's so important. It's so important. It's so important. And they get offended by certain things that don't match up to their criteria or their own vision of like what life should look like. But sometimes you have to delve a little deeper and ask yourself, okay, why am I so anti? Why am I just projecting all the time? Why am I hating on everybody? See, whenever we're projecting these more toxic anger is a normal emotion. It's okay to feel, but when you're sitting in it, when you're just swimming in it, you're drowning in it pretty much. That's when you need to take a look at what am I doing? Because when you're swimming in states of anger and fear and things like that, then that's very misaligned from what your heart actually wants as a human being, as a spirit, It's so misaligned from who you really are. So if you're into religion and you're spewing out love, it doesn't even make sense. How could you spew it out? If you're spitting out love to everybody, you're spitting in their face and you're loving them by spitting and shouting, and it just doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense to do that. So maybe I'm getting way off track here, but I just wanted to say that I like Jesus. Because when I thought of Jesus, I would think back to, I went to Catholic school all my life, so I have memories, PTSD from nuns, and I, went through my rebellious stage, and like I said, later in life found out, wow, I could be spiritual, but I don't have to be religious. Like, that's so cool, because like spirituality is all about finding yourself, giving yourself the power, where to me, maybe you'll agree, I don't know. Organized religion can be about giving your power away to something external of yourself, right? A god, idolizing something or someone. And that's okay if it's like a two-way street where it's like, I'm going to give my power to you, you give your power to me. But when you're in a state where you're just giving your power away and you're always in this state of suffering and victimization, then in my eyes, that's not a way to live, So back to Jesus. So when I thought of Jesus, because of my Catholic school upbringing and all that stuff, I would just think of suffering, right? Jesus is not relevant anymore to me. But this guy, SoCal Jesus, came around, he made light, he made fun of, not made fun of Jesus, but like made fun with Jesus. And I'm like, suddenly, I like Jesus. He's a cool dude. Like, he's relevant again. Because I think of like love and laughter now. So I don't think that's very sacrilegious to me, but that's just me. I don't think it's a bad thing. Reading this guy's comments, like there's a lot of people who are Catholic that are like, I don't find anything offensive about you, dude. Like, you're funny. Like, you made my day. So that's our issue here in society, is that we just we see what somebody's doing and right away we jump on them because we feel like it's not in alignment to what our belief system is. But maybe if we opened up a little bit, opened our heart a little, opened our perspective, kind of shifted a little bit, not to get whiny, we'll realize that maybe things come in small, unexpected packages sometimes. Maybe the goal is to just be a good freaking person and light up somebody. The more we can help others, light others up, grow. Like, we're going to make this world a better place, okay? Instead of spewing out what's wrong with this, what this person's doing, or what's wrong with when what they're doing is not causing any harm. It's just that you feel something internally that's offending you. You have to look deeper at what that is. You have to look deeper at what that is and why you feel so strongly about it, when it's not like this dude is knocking on your door, kicking down your door, like throwing Bibles in your face, ripping up Bibles in your face. No. He's just making somebody laugh. Okay? He made my parents laugh. He made me laugh, made me look a little bit more. And the fact that he had the backstory about basically being in a cult and not liking what they stood for, and realizing that he was actually in a cult, makes it all the more fascinating to me, and makes me appreciate somebody like that more. Okay? Somebody who's actually living in their light and actually doing something that maybe looks random or unexpected, but you know what? He thought of it, and it's unique, and it helps him make a living, and it helps him see his kids, and it helps him light people up, and you know, 1.2 million subscribers agree. You know? So anyway, that's just my 2 cents about it. All right. So don't be so rigid. Don't be such an asshole. Don't be so stuck in your ways. Don't be stuck in the past. Like, this is the present day. This is the future. Things are changing. Things are always evolving. Like I said, you are growing. You are evolving. You are more than just this belief system and the structures that come with them. Okay? Everything outside of you. You're bombarded with stuff. Our brain can hold infinite amounts of information. So it's hard. I get it. It's hard. It's hard to be a human being. But you gotta ease up a little. Ease up. Ask yourself, am I really having fun being this way? Am I really smiling at all today? Like, am I laughing at all? Or am I so stuck in my ways where I'm always angry? I always want to punch people and spit at them and say that I'm being a loving human being because that's what I'm taught to do, because I'm forcing it. No, dude, ease up. Have more fun. Life is short. We know this. Life is short. We know this. Thanks for listening. Let me know your thoughts. I appreciate you here today for this conversation, this podcast. Leave some likes, share it with your friends. It'll be up on YouTube as well. So if you want to see my face, you could do that. You could visit my YouTube channel for all kinds of videos on self-empowerment, self-development, Chinese medicine, all my previous podcasts. It's youtube.com/Jen Palko. That's my platform of choice. Although I do like doing the podcasts, actually, more cash, So it's on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. So share it with your friends. Like I said, my website, jenpalko.com. I have a new book out. Well, it's a year old now, so I got to stop saying that because it's not that new. I'm working on the next one. So it's 12-step guide for the self-help book addict. 12-step guide for the self-help book addict. I feel like I didn't pronounce that well. It's on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart.com. You get that through my website as well. And I'm not going to promote myself any bit more today because Jesus loves you. I love you. We all love you. And I'm going to end it now. So I will await episode number 3. This was episode number 2. I appreciate you listening. And until next time, I hope you have a great day, great week, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. Peace out.